want to show you how to make a flower arrangement with flowers from your garden. And you obviously will have different things probably growing in your garden than I do, but the basic overall concept and the steps are going to be the same. So to get started, you can do it two different ways. You can pick a vase first, and then that will dictate the quantity of flowers you're going to want to pick. Or you could go out and pick a bunch of flowers and then come in and choose a vase. That's what I did. And most people who aren't familiar with flower arranging usually pick a vase with a much larger opening than what they have flowers to fill. At least that was my experience in the flower shop. So pick your flowers. It won't really matter if you used a really sharp implement to cut them because they're gonna all get cut again. Once you have them picked, bring them in. I grouped them by kind, so it will be easier for me to pick and choose them when I'm gonna put them in my vase. And let's see, so I picked the flowers, I brought them in, I selected a vase based on the quantity of flowers that I had, and I filled it with cold water. So it's important to use cold water because that helps prevent bacteria from growing as quickly as it would otherwise. You will want something sharp to cut the stems with. Because I've been doing this for so long, I use a knife. If you're not comfortable with a knife, I would tell you pruners are probably best. Scissors aren't the greatest because they'll end up pinching the ends of the stems, and you want to have a nice clean cut, not pinch, so that the flowers can soak up as much water as possible. Also, there are a couple different ways that you can arrange. One of them would be to do it in your hand, and I do it a lot that way, but I think, again, if you're just starting out and it's not something that you're comfortable with, it's easiest to put the stems in and arrange it like in the vase as opposed to in your hand. I would encourage you to pick some pretty foliage. This was off from my smoke bush. And then this, jeepers, I think it's Artemisia. Anyway, I'm gonna start with those first because what that's gonna do is it's going to help hold the other flowers in place. So this is just kind of a mechanic that will be a little noticeable, but not super noticeable. So I'm just cutting them to kind of give me a foundation. Any foliage that's going to be below the surface of the water, I'm going to strip off. That I was able to just do with my hand. The foliage from the smoke bush is really pretty. It looks great in the fall too. I like to put it in arrangements with hydrangea. So again, that I kind of crisscrossed the stems in there, kept it all fairly low. I mean, for a more organic look, you could have some cascade out, but I wanted to make sure it stayed in and stayed stable. So the next thing I'm going to do is the Artemisia. It has already started wilting a little bit, and I picked it right before I came inside. So with a nice clean cut and some water, it should perk back up. And again, I'm putting this in next because I want the stems to be intertwined and crisscrossed in the vase so that they will hold up some of the other flowers. Depending on what you have in your garden at any given time, having some larger, more focal flowers would be great. I wanted to use some peonies, but they got beat up the other day from the rain, so I don't really have any of those that looked very nice. Okay, so. And as you can see, I'm selecting one kind of flower at a time to put in my vase. I'm going to start getting a little bit more organic looking since I have some nice long stems. Just be a little bit more free form. I'll show you the back side in a minute too, so you can see. And it's so funny because I used to be able to remember like all of the flower names, and I don't know, they don't stick with me as much anymore. So I'm going to tell you the green is the Artemisia. I got to look and see what the grayish silvery leafed ones are. Okay, so that's kind of my back side. So it does look a little different. I'm going to want to balance it out in the front with some longer items. Any deeper colors, usually you would want to keep some towards the center. Again, the eye is going to be drawn to them, so they're going to be more of a focal flower. You can also group them together, or you can intersperse the different ones throughout. It's kind of personal preference. I mean, this isn't really about right or wrong as far as it looks. Just trying to give you kind of the technique and how you would go about doing it. You might want some flowers, you know, tucked down in. It's nice to have them at different levels for eye movement purposes. But you can get creative and do whatever you want. I also like to choose flowers with different textures. I think that creates a little bit more interest in the arrangement. Ooh, the yarrow is so pretty. Just starting to come out, so I only have a few of them. And again, they've gotten a little wilty already, but they should come back. So because I only have a couple pieces of yarrow, I'm going to put those next to each other. Butterfly bush is gorgeous. Of course, my favorite color is orange. So I'm going to turn it around. This is so fun. And when you're picking flowers from the garden, I mean, no two arrangements are going to look the same because it changes so quickly. Isn't this great? This is a honeysuckle vine. I have it on a trellis out front. The hummingbirds really like it. It blooms for quite a long period of time as well. So some of these, like this doesn't have a very sturdy stem, so I'm gonna tuck that in maybe a little bit more than some of the others. I was hoping to have it kind of, oh yeah, that's cool, to have it kind of like this, like just kind of have it like cascade out and create a little bit of movement too. That's always kind of nice. That might be a little too far. Remember, you can always recut. You can never make anything longer, but you can always make things shorter. So when in doubt, I'm feeling like this side that's facing me is the front, and I really don't want there to be a front, but that's how it's working out so far. Now, I don't know. Can I get this? Oh, I got a bug. That can happen too. All right, so I'm feeling like I need something focal over here. So I am going to take this yellow and put it down kind of low. Not going to work because of the curvature of the stem, but yeah, these are all really curly. I liked that when I was picking them, but now that I'm putting them in the arrangement, not so much. No, I really want more of a focal point there. That helped a little bit. There, you can always shift things also once you get them in. That's the benefit of arranging in a vase as opposed to arranging in floral foam. So when you're doing it in foam, whenever you pull a flower out, you end up with a hole that creates an air pocket, and then that, if you put another flower in that same hole, it could prevent it from getting water. This is Veronica. This is awesome right now. All right, so this is helping. I'd really like one more piece of yarrow that would be pretty over here, or the Dianthus or Sweet William. Not sure which it is. I love the Veronica because, again, it gives it some movement. It's nice linear flower. So it's great to bring these colors and flowers into your home. It's been proven that flowers can lift the spirits and improve your mood and emotions, and then scents can as well. So lavender, which I'm putting in now, is very calming and soothing. The my Dianthus or Sweet William doesn't have much of a scent, but boy, the lavender sure does. And if you're picking flowers that don't have a fragrance and you want a fragrance, you can always put some essential oils into the arrangement. You could, if you have like a pine cone, or we could do it on a wooden bead, like on some ribbon, or an acorn, just some little element that you could incorporate into the arrangement, and then put a drop or two of essential oils on it. And you'd need to, do that. That scent would probably last, I don't know, a couple hours, and it won't fill up a huge space in the house. But if you, had this, on a dining room table while you're eating, or, put it in your bedroom or something like that, in a small area, you would smell the essential oils for a longer period of time. But I would say to put them on, before you're going to be in the particular room or area, or just, apply to your element that you put in the arrangement every, probably 3-4 hours, a couple drops. So this is shaping up nicely, isn't it? I love it. I also find arranging flowers to be very therapeutic and relaxing. Now the last thing I have, well, since I picked this, I might as well put it in. I mean, if you end up, like if your vase is getting overstuffed or getting more full than you want it to be, don't feel like you have to use all your flowers in it. You could take what you have left and just put a few stems in like a nice little bud vase, and you can put that in the bathroom or again on your nightstand. So this is sage, and again, I can't believe how quickly it's wilting. So I'm gonna put it in and see what happens. If it doesn't, that's Alex, my cat. If it doesn't come back, then I'll just pull it out, and it'll be easy because I put it in last. But again, I'm doing a nice clean cut on every one, stripping the foliage. This is kind of sticky and sappy, so my hands are getting a little sticky. I really would like one of these right in the middle, but I don't know. I'll put it there, and then if it doesn't come back, I'll pull it out of there. If your stems are real long, you could possibly get 2 insertions also. And if you can, if your flowers are long enough, pick them a little on the long side, because like I said, you can always cut them shorter, but you can't make them longer. Okay, awesome. What do you think? I love it. It's so bright and colorful. So that's, yeah, that's my arrangement of flowers from my garden. Couple tips to make it last longer. I would change the water like every couple of days. Just, you know, take it to the sink, dump it out, you know, pull the side up a little bit and put it right up against the faucet and fill it back up with water. You could do it with a pitcher also, or a watering can. And the other thing is that if you can, recut the stems also every couple of days. So what I would typically do is just take both hands, pull it out. If you can, you know, just grasp it in one hand and then just go through and cut all the stems again as best as you can. And again, the more clean the cut, the longer they will last. Also, as far as lasting is concerned, temperature has a lot to do with how long flowers last. So in the summer, if your home isn't air conditioned and it's quite hot, they're not going to last as long. If your house is air conditioned and a little bit on the cooler side, they will last longer. And also, they're all going to have a different longevity. I'm really sorry about the cat, but a different longevity. Some flowers last longer and other ones just don't last quite as long. So for those, you can always just pull them out and replace them with something else, or just cut them so that you can't see them, and that's about it. Okay, so cut some flowers from your garden and bring them in and enjoy the colors and the fragrance and the beauty of nature.